it's just everything, the stars align, but you say no. Hello, so today we're going to be talking about standards and why we break them. Why in the world would we break our standards? If we are an amazing woman, which we are, and we're trying to have our best life possible, then why in the world would we ever break our standards? We have a set of values, we have a set of goals, principles, we have a set of things that we want. So when something is not meeting those things, the logical thing to do is to say no and walk away from them, right? I don't want that. This is not fitting into my life. It's not fitting into my goals, so I'm going to walk away. But we oftentimes, most than not, do those things. But there also comes a time where we seem to be throwing this out the window, and for some reason we can't walk away, we can't turn around, we can get rid of our morals, our values, our goals, and sacrifice our standards. So why do we do this? If it's your first time on this channel, before we get to all of this, my name is Karina, so do subscribe and like. I make videos about money, woman, and power, and I also wrote a guide. I wrote one about how to get your power back and how to really kind of have a sparkle when you walk into the room, and it's very, very heavily mindset focused because honestly, that is what controls everything. You can get it down below or go to intoamilylady.com/confidence. So let's talk about our standards, why we break them. So essentially, we ourselves set our standards. So this is you right here, and you are responsible for setting these things. You decide what you want, you decide what type of life you want to live, and your goals. So let's focus on our relationship standards, for example, but this can apply to everything. I make a lot of these types of videos too, so I'll break down other topics. But when it comes to relationships, right, you have this set of values and beliefs. Perhaps you want a strong male that is going to be a provider and a support system, whatever it may be. And say you go on a date with male number one, and he's perfect. So it seems, right? He is maybe attractive, maybe has an amazing job, treats you well, is extremely nice. I've heard so many of these stories of my friends saying, you know, I went on a date and he seems amazing and he has all these things, right? And he's very kind. He seems like he is very committed to you even on the first date, and that is possible, right? A person can let you know your intentions in the very, very early stages. I think it's a myth, and quite frankly a toxic one that can go into a wrong direction if you think that a person has to commit with you after months or years of being with them and that they're just waiting to make the decision. That's not true, okay? If a man wants to commit with you, oftentimes he will let you know as early as the first date. So again, not kind of categorizing everything, but it is possible and probable as well. So don't lose hope if you think it's not. But say everything is there, right? But you say, you know what? He treats me well. He is committed to me even on the first date. He obviously, he just wants to be with me and he's making his intentions clear. And so let's say he has a really well-paying job and travels. It's just everything, the stars align. But you say, no. You know, I just didn't have a connection. I'm not attracted to him. So you cross this out. You cross out a perfectly fine suitor that meets these standards, that say has everything on the checklist that you want. You cross him out. And you say, no, I don't want this. So now let's look at another choice right here. And why. We're gonna talk about that later. Why do you cross him out? Then we have option number 2 over here. This is male suitor number 2. Say you've been talking to him, maybe you haven't gone on a first date, maybe you're browsing and trying to learn about him a little bit, and you start to really want to get to know this person. And you meet him and everything, but the problem is this is not getting met. So maybe he has some of these, maybe he doesn't really seem like he's the loyal type. Perhaps you're questioning if he's also dating other females, all of these things, but you don't cross him out, right? You don't cross him out. Your standards are not met, but you're not crossing him out. You're thinking, I'll see. I'll go on a second date with him. I'll test this out. Maybe it will improve. So why would you cross someone out that meets all of these, but not cross him out? And say this goes on. This goes on for, 2 months. 2 months later, then it goes 6 months. Then it's a year. Then it's 5 years. I've heard stories where it's 10 years, and this is not changing. You're thinking that this is going to change, so you're giving it time. You're giving this time, while over here you cross them out, right? But let's compare this to suitor number 3 over here. So you go on a date with him, and this guy doesn't have this, and he's also not nice to you like the first one was. So not only is he not meeting your standards, but basically he's not even treating you correctly. What are you gonna do? That's an obvious no. You would just not even think for a second. You would get up, walk away, perhaps in the middle of the date, block the number, and not have any kind of second thoughts. So that's easy. So what is it here that's causing you to sacrifice your standards and wait 2 months, 6 months, a year, 5 years, 10 years, waiting for this to change? And why would you do that? Why would you invest your most valuable asset, which is your time, being dependent on this person for an infinite amount of months? Essentially, this number is directly proportional to the amount of time that you let it be. So when you decide to cut it off, then this stops. If you decide to continue, this type of person will take as much as he can. You give him an inch, he takes a mile. If you don't cut it off, it's never going to change. That's the problem here, is that it's never going to change. So what is holding you here? And while it was so easy to get rid of all of these things, well, it's a very, very easy thing, and it's very common sense. Yes, the E, it's your emotions. Your emotion is what is responsible for this. You were already emotionally attached to suitor number 2, even though the standards were not there, but you're using this as an excuse. You're using this as an excuse to let yourself be strung along for all of these infinite amounts of times. What, maybe he's not committing, maybe he is, that's a big one, right? It could be anything, but you're letting it drag out because you have this emotion attachment to it, and you say silly things such as, I love him, there's no other options, this is the best, I'm never gonna find anything better. That's all nonsense, okay? If you had emotions with this person attached, which by the way can grow, then you would have your perfect life, right? So emotions are a very volatile thing. They come and go, they change, time changes things. So to sacrifice all of this because of this E right here is not a good value to your life. It's not a good use of your time. So the best thing for this is to realize that you have these, this is not being met over here, and it's not going to change. You're not going to change a person. No matter how many times you end the relationship and they say they're going to finally change and things are going to go back to how you wanted them, that's a manipulation tactic. That's just words. You follow somebody's actions, not somebody's words, right? So if they haven't been letting you know, like this person in the beginning, he let you know he was serious about you, that he was willing to maybe not date anyone else if you were committed to him, well, this person's just stringing you along and you're thinking, men grow up later, they have difficulty committing. That's not true. It's not men, it's this type of men that you are with right now, and you deserve more. If you are improving yourself as a person, and you're growing and you have a set of values, don't sacrifice them. Eventually somebody will come along that will suffice all of your standards and values, and you won't have to settle. But this, my ladies, is a waste of life. It's a waste of your reputation. It's a waste of your strength and power, and it really slowly nicks away at your power. It takes away the dimming in your eyes. This is not what you want. I actually talk about this in the confidence book I wrote that's linked down below. But essentially, you do want to step away from this, no matter how detrimental it seems in the moment, how, you know, you might be sad for X amount of months. It doesn't matter. Your emotions will change, you will get over it, and you will have your life back. So really reassess your standards and the confidence that you should have, and don't let anybody take chunks out of your life, okay? Anyways, do subscribe to this video, like it for more, and check out my book down below. I'll see you in the next video.